So while I wait for the new chassis harness to come in for the 2017 STI with our 6-cylinder swap, I'm gonna start knocking out some of the smaller stuff that I've had sitting around for the car for a little while. So this Naca duct for this headlight is one of them. And I thought it'd be a cool opportunity to show you guys, if you wanna do a headlight style intake like this, kind of how you do it. So what I've got on the table here is pretty much everything we're gonna need. I am gonna have to make a run to the auto parts store to get the rest of the stuff. So we have our headlight here. We have a 3D printed Naca duct that's gonna sit perfectly inside of our headlight right there. I may need to take the headlight apart. I'm not 100% sure yet. If I need to, I will. If I don't need to, I'm not gonna stress it too much. We're gonna need something to cut up the lens with. We're also gonna need a piece of cardboard, a razor blade, and a Sharpie, as well as some sealant, which is what I'm gonna have to go to the auto parts store for, to be able to put a seal on the back side of this headlight to seal it up to the lens there. So, oh, and we're gonna need tape. Can't forget the tape. So, first of all, thank you. I totally forgot who sent this to me, but thank you so much for 3D printing this and sending it over. It fits our headlight literally perfect. It's made for this headlight. So that'll give us plenty of airflow to our Precision 6870 that we've got hiding right up in there behind the headlight. So let's start things off. The first thing that we need to do with this is go ahead and take our Naca duct. We're gonna stick it on a piece of cardboard and trace the outline for what we're gonna cut. So that way we have a stencil for how we're going to cut this headlight, because we don't wanna just send it and kind of demolish everything, overcut, undercut, anything like that. So let's get a stencil made first, get it taped onto the headlight, and start cutting this thing up a little bit. Actually gonna mask up this whole area here, so that way as we cut, we get nice clean cuts. Perfect. I'm pretty happy with that. We take our Sharpie here again, and then we trace on our tape. And now we have our cut line. Look at that. Cutting into your headlights, a little bit scary because of like $1,000 but per headlight, but not the end of the world. Let's get to cutting this thing. Boom, look at that. We cut a hole in our headlight. Oh, I haven't done headlights in a while. All right, all of these harnesses, whatever can come off, can come off. So I actually need to take the high beam bolt out. So we're not using that. Let me start by unscrewing these. I built you too well. Take that screw out. So you're gonna go around and just take all the screws out on the back side of the headlight. There's gonna be 5 of them. Be careful of these harnesses here. Now you got a couple options of opening these guys up after you get all the screws out. A, you can either use a heat gun. I don't like using a heat gun personally. I prefer to just pop them in the oven for a little bit. So let me go do these real quick. I actually think I do need to, actually I think I need to keep that because that looks like it seals on there. I don't know how I'm gonna do this yet. Let me go take this apart. Let me go pop it in the oven, we'll pop it apart. For us, we need to trim out this back ring because that ring is where this little grommet sits, and this grommet is actually the same diameter for what we have on our Naca duct. So let's go ahead and get that ring trimmed out. Okay. At this point, I'm gonna go through and start like shaping this with a file and some sanding bits. We have a rough hole cut out, which is good. Got a rough hole? Now let's shape it. So I went ahead and I got the bucket fitted and cut. I also cut this off a little bit, just the end of it, because the turbo sits so close to the headlight. This came out a little bit too far. So I did trim it down a little bit. Now I've got some JB weld just to adhere this piece to the inner lens. Once both of those are adhered together, we can go in there and reinforce it a little bit more, which we will be doing. But I need to let this sit for about 4 to 6 hours. So I'll catch you guys in the future. All right, my little gremlins, we're a day in the future, and our JB Weld solution stuff has cured, and our duct is pretty secure on this headlight lens now. Well, not the lens, but the inner shroud piece. So it definitely took a decent amount of time for this to cure and not become tacky anymore. I'm sure the cold weather out here did not help, but as you can see, like, it is on there. So now that we have this done, what we need to do is clean up this lens cut right here a little bit. I'm gonna come up here, round this out, and smooth out all of these edges here. Once we have all of those smoothed out, we're gonna get everything cleaned up and start reassembling this headlight to get it back in the car. Now, some of you guys are wondering, Tanner, you're gonna have a massive hole in your headlight, man. How is that even going to be good for driving? Well, let me riddle you this. This headlight at least is not going to be my daily driving set if I do decide to daily drive the car. A, I don't want to get a whole bunch of crap going into that turbo right there. B, I'm gonna have a second set of headlights that I'm gonna throw in the car. So this headlight setup, the stock headlights, are probably going to be used for like when we race, when we go to shows, when we go do things like that. So these are not going to be show headlights. This is going to be like a race style headlight that still functions as a headlight. So we'll still have low beams, turn signals, everything like that on the headlight. It'll just be for like summertime use. So with that being said, let's get this lens trimmed up just a little bit more up in this area here. And then we'll clean up these cuts here and start reassembling everything. So I've got the headlight kind of put back together. It's like temporarily set back together with it mocked up in the car, and I had to get a little bit aggressive with the cutting on the backside of the headlight. That Naca duct is so wide on the back that in order to get the headlight to go in, you have to slide the headlight in from the top left corner down into like the center corner to be able to get to like line up properly. But this is just a race headlight for whenever we want more airflow for the turbo. So keep that in mind. It's not our permanent headlight. It's not like it's gonna see water or anything like that, so I'm not concerned about it. So I've got it temporarily set back in the car right now. And what I mean by that is you have to get this corner in first and then slide everything else in to be able to get it into place. But it lines pretty well up with our, actually let me open the hood so you can see a little bit better in there. It lines pretty well up with our turbo. Like the Naca duct ends right there and then the turbo's right there. If the turbo's clocked just a little bit more, it would line up perfectly. But I'm not too stressed about it because we're still gonna get more than sufficient airflow to our turbo right there. Dude, look at that thing. So now that we have this done, I need to go ahead and get these two pieces stuck back to each other, and then we can permanently install this thing back in. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. Like the cutting on the backside, you really can't tell. You'll never be able to tell unless the headlight's out of the car. But let me pull it out real quick and I'll show you guys. So this is what I was talking about. when I had to get a little bit aggressive with the cutting. So I needed to leave enough room around the Naca duct to where it's not gonna hit anything. It's kind of free floating. But the whole reason I had to cut out over here was because I had to slide it in, because when you go to slide it in, the Naca duct starts over here and then it shifts into place right there after everything is lined up. So now that we have everything how we want it, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna use the heat gun to kind of heat up the edges, get these stuck to each other a little bit more, go pop them in the oven at 170 degrees for about 10 minutes. And then we're gonna come out here and get these things like fully sealed back up. I'll probably, like I said, I'll probably order a set of like Subi Speed Euro style headlights like the ones that we used to have on the car. I actually liked those ones pretty well. But for now, let's get this guy sealed up. And in the oven she goes. Yo, I am happy with that. You can't really tell it's there unless you're looking for it, but when you do look for it, you get a nice little turbo surprise in there. So honestly, pretty happy with it. I'm not too upset about the clocked angle of the turbo either. Mainly, we had to put it at this angle so that way we could also fit the downpipe straight back. So this works beautifully, and we're gonna have great airflow to that turbo now. Granted, it's only getting like half the turbo. The air's still gonna get sucked in from right here anyways. So pretty happy with that. Like I said, this is not the daily driver headlight if I decide to drive this car in the rain like this. We just don't want to be sucking up a whole bunch of water through here, and we also don't want to be getting water into this headlight if we can avoid it. So a set of Subi Speeds will probably happen in the future, but this came out way better than I was expecting it to. I did get a little too cut happy right here. I nicked the inner shroud a little bit when I was like trimming all this up, but you know, it is what it is. It's a race car. It's not a show car. Well, this headlight's not for a race car. This headlight's for the... You guys get what I'm saying. But super happy with the outcome of the headlight goodness that we just did. We have turned our headlight into an intake. A lot of people were asking me what I was doing for the intake, and don't worry, I do have a turbo guard on that turbo as well, so that way when we are running this headlight setup, it's not just sucking in big pieces of whatever it is that might be going in there. The turbo guard is essentially like a mesh screen, like your sliding glass door or something like that. It has a screen integrated into the coupler, so that way it can't get sucked in, won't let anything like big in. So I have the finest screen that they possibly make, just to be able to make sure that we're not sucking anything stupid in the turbo. But pretty happy with it. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while. A, just to clear off more parts that we have on the back shelf, and B, because it looks cool. So that's really all I got for you guys on this one. If you guys are looking to put a Naca duct in your headlight to do something similar to this, just take your time. Don't make any outrageously large cuts. Do small cuts as you're going around it. If you do too big of a cut, then you're gonna end up with something that may or may not fit. You never know. In our case, with the back of the headlight, A, you're not gonna see it. B, it doesn't affect anything for performance-wise when we're doing this. And C, we just kind of had to do it to be able to get the headlight back together in one piece. So just take your time cutting. I'll link below a couple different Naca duct style Naca ducts for anyone out there who may be considering doing something similar. But we now have a race headlight. It still functions as a normal headlight, but it lets a lot of airflow through it. Also, before I end this video, I did get a tracking update for the new chassis harness on the STI. That'll be here Monday, so that way we can start getting this thing back together, testing the electrical system, and hoping to God that everything works as it should. But anyways, if you guys like the video, you know what to do. Go ahead and hit that like button, turn it black, blue, green, yellow, purple, silver, cyan, whatever color it turns for you. Color of the day today is pink, because I'm wearing my OG pink Karma hoodie. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, you know what to do if you want to. I'm not going to tell you to do it. And with that, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, homies.